Welcome to the Vector Garden. In this quick tip, we're going to take a look at the new star tool in Illustrator 28.3. So the star tool is already here. You find it beneath the rectangle tool, and there is the star tool. Now, the new thing about this is that the star tool finally creates live shapes. Still, it works like it did before, so when you start drawing and the mouse key and the mouse button is still down, then you can use several modifier keys to change the attributes. So you can press the arrow up to increase the number of spokes, or you can press Command or Control on Windows to edit the length of the spokes by dragging. And of course, you can press the Shift key to align that star, like this. And once you have the star, then you see what live shape means, because you've got this slider here and you can drag it up and down to create different numbers of spokes in this case. Now let's drag it slightly down, and you see this is the live shape, and you also see that this point is the geometrical center of the star. Now I'm going to change to the selection tool here, and you still see we've got that point, which is the center point. What you can also maybe see is that it's not the center of this box. It's lower, so it's really the center of the star. And also when we go into here and turn on the smart guides, then you can see that it's marked at the center. So you can use it for aligning things, which is quite important. Let's select it again. We have some more of these sliders. So we've got slider here for the outer radius, like this, where you can change the length of the spokes, and the inner radius that you can drag as well. And then we've got a widget for rounding those outer points. And we've got another widget for rounding the inner ones, which can be made independent from the outer one. So let's get into the options, because of course you can also set this up numerically. So let's go into the shape here in the control panel, and there you see the shape options, and you can also move the slider here. You see it only gets to 50, but you can enter higher numbers by just entering them, and then you get like 500, which is of course way too much. So let's get this down to 7, like this. You can rotate it, and you see it's rotated at 90 degrees now. Now, if I set this to 0, then we get a kind of weird alignment, really weird. I don't know why that is. So let's get in here again. You can also set the 2 radii, and you can also synchronize the 2 corners. So we can also set them both to rounded and both to the same radius, and then we get it like this. Or maybe this one makes more sense. So let's get out of here again, set this to 0 again. Now something strange happens when we unlink them again, and then let's round the outer ones. And when you now drag the inner radius, then the star behaves kind of strange. So it changes the overall size. This is not the case when they are pointed. So when you now move the inner radius, then the outer one stays. And there's no change in that behavior when you set up the scaling of the corners differently. So in the transform panel, you can turn this on and off, scale corners, but that doesn't change anything in that behavior. Now let's look at one different thing, because with a star you could create quite special stars. So let's create a new one. I'm going to drag it, and then while the mouse is still down, using the arrow down to make this a 3-pointed star. And what you can then do is press Command and Alt. On Windows it's Control and Alt, and then arrow down. Just press it. You don't see anything, the mouse is still down, and then when you increase the number of spokes, then you get this special star. And this special star also has 2 of these widgets, and one is for the inner and one is for the outer corners. And you see, you can move them separately, and then you get this. Let's see, let's take a look at these without strokes, and then you see you get this kind of shape, which is just interesting. So when you change this here, then the result is kind of weird. It acts up. So this is just an experimental use. To get rid of it, just draw another one, hold the mouse down, and then press Command, Alt, and arrow down, and you're out of it. On Windows, of course, it's Control, Alt, and arrow down. And then you've got your new stars.